No, loud and clear. Kipp, what's going on, chat? Everybody from Strat chat. Good to be here. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mossy. I adore you and your internet. I hope he comes back real soon. I feel like I'm on the Howard Stern show right now. But without the vulgarities. The obvious one, Howard Stern? Ooh, sorry to interrupt really fast. I guess you're not audible. On your stream, apparently? That's weird.
What about now? Can anybody hear me at this mic? I think I fixed it now. Okay, well, hopefully it's not going to be that big of a problem or whatever. I think I just killed the sound too. Okay, so I think we're fine now. We'll find out from chat. But the first thing I wanted to tell you was thank you for agreeing to come on the show because you were one of the first people that I messaged about coming on. And, it was kind of hard. I think messaged you a couple months ago about trying to get on, but we couldn't really work it out with your schedule. But now we figured it out, and you're on. So thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to us.
Right. Thank you so much for having me, inviting me for this. It's honestly a delight, a privilege, a pleasure, all of the above. Thank you, Kipp and Mossy, wherever you are.
Yeah, for those of you in the chat that couldn't hear me because I messed up my audio, True Moss's internet just died out of nowhere, like literally right before. Apparently I started talking, so hopefully he'll be back in a minute. But so Sephi, I want to start off with the most important question that I have for you of the night. Okay?
Yes.
When I first started streaming Super Metroid, you were one of the first kind of major people to come in and come in consistently and talk to me and help me and all kinds of stuff. And you were super positive, but you weren't Antinomy back then. You weren't Sephi. I think at that point you were Barcroy or something. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So you're the man of many handles. Name all of the handles that you've used so far in the Super Metroid community, because I'm not even sure if I know all of them.
I like that question. You know what? And some I can't even say on stream, but I'll give you a couple. Can't name all of them. Trust me, you wouldn't want me to do that. But I do have we all know the infamous Zosty split for Bantoon. So we have that one.
Okay.
We have another one that is 42069, 42069, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all an entire handle. I have another one that's capitalized start underscore capitalized end. That's another one. I have optometros. I have Salmonella Forever. I have another one that I was using. Oh, Garftroid.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
The ever lovely Garftroid. I have Sephimon, just because of that's just an alt where I sometimes if I want to practice in private,
right,
I'll use that alt.
Okay, so wait a minute. I gotta know then, because you just named I don't even know how many names. Is there any particular reason that you do that? Because it's kind of hard. Right now you're Antinomy, but I still call you Sephi. I mean, is Sephi what you want me to call you, or do you prefer me to keep up with the changes, or what?
No, I prefer Sephi. It's what everyone knows me as. It's what. Antinomy is just a name for myself. Honestly, I'll say that right now. It really just is a personal preference for me to be, I guess, have that as my name. But anyone that I get along with, or even don't get along with, you can just call me Sephi.
Awesome.
Yo, I'm here anyway, guys.
Welcome back, Moss.
Yeah, what are the odds? I was listening to the intro music, and all of a sudden everything just crashes. So we're back.
Awesome. Well, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just just life.
Yeah, and well, unfortunately for me, I had the mic muted too early. So, but anyway, we got all the problems fixed, and now we can roll on. So Sevi, related to your name changes, because there's a whole lot to talk to you about Super Metroid related. Before I kind of get into your background with gaming, I want to ask you one thing. The only thing that I have listed right now on your stats page, because I always put a stats page together, is your any percent time. And I have the fact that you made the top 8 in the multi-category tournament. But the only reason I have your any percent time, I know you have other times, but I don't know where to find your times because a lot of times you don't post them. So can you talk to us a little bit about the other PBs that you have, and then also I'm actually kind of curious, like, what is behind your choice to sort of not post some of your times on Deer Tier?
Okay. So also a really good question. That the reason for that is, well, when you're around, so many people of the community, and you kind of engage in conversation just by asking someone, what's a PB? I know that it used to be kind of disconnected when someone would ask in like Oates' chat, they'd say, what's world record? And they'd say Deer Tier, and they'd keep asking it. Newer viewers, they'd be like, what's world record? Oh, Deer Tier, or exclamation mark DT, whatever, and it would link them to Deer Tier. For me, I never liked that. I really, really hated that. It kept you from really being inviting to a newer viewer, a newer runner. And so the reason I don't post times is because I'd much rather for a person to, just enter the stream and ask me, like, what is your time? What are your times? Because I do like talking about that.
Cool.
I do like talking about my times. And by the way, also, I got a PB today for any percent.
You did?
Yeah, I got a 45-45. It's a small one, but I finally bopped CFB, which was a dream of mine.
Awesome. Well, then that also means that you're ranked higher than 29th at the moment. My apologies, I had no idea.
No, it's fine. I kind of kept it to my... Again, I don't post my times, so... But I did kind of want to save that as like something to share with you guys as well.
That is awesome, dude. And
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one thing I was going to say is, we discussed this last week with Topsy, or 2 weeks ago when he came on in the last episode. A 45 any percent old route is pretty serious business. I mean, that's a very difficult, time to achieve. So number one, congratulations. And number two, can you talk to us a little bit about why you like any percent old route so much? Like, what is it about the category that kind of draws you in?
When I started getting into Super Metroid, that's the only route that was at the, that was known at the time. I started in early 2014. I guess a few months right before the quote unquote new route had been discovered, or I guess was secretly in the background being worked on. But I always watched a lot of people. I started with playing with Wild Anaconda, with Alucard 2004, and Crispy. What was it, 07 2003? I started with them. Those were the 3 people that I would always hang out with. And I started with Keyboard old route, and I was able to bring that. Yeah, I brought that time down to a 56-46. And
that's crazy, dude.
And I found all of that like really, really fun for me to just kind of have all the sparks, and then I would learn about something like Plasma Spark. That was pretty swaggy to go for. At the time, I loved Ocean Fly. Not anymore now, because it's personally kind of like overrated. But but no. Overall, like, there's a whole bunch of sparks that you can do, and I don't know. It's just my type of run. That's why I can't ever go to new route. I'm old route for life.
Okay, cool. So, but I do know that you have good times in other categories too, because we also listed the fact that you made the top 8 in the multi-category tournament, which was not easy at all, and you had to know a lot of different runs. So, like, can you talk to us about your other PBs? Like, what are your other, or maybe just other categories you run? If you don't remember exactly what your PB is in every category, that's okay. But tell us a little bit about the other categories you do.
Oh, no, for sure. So I do know my PBs. My current 100% PB is 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 41 seconds.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, so that, I guess, on the leaderboard technically places me on the 23rd spot.
Okay.
And then I also did a little bit of GT Classic, and I believe I'm on the seventh place for GT Classic with a 3624. Yep.
Cool. So I think
Yeah,
is that just ahead of me?
Yeah, just the one spot
Nice.
ahead of you.
Dude, why don't you
And
put your name on there so we can be side by side?
yeah, I should do that. You've told me that before. You told me that months ago. I really should. Um, and then lastly, I do have 2 RBO runs completed. One of them was really bad, like a 2 hour 30 something minutes. But then my second completed run was 1 hour and 38 minutes, and that was for the relay.
Yes, you and I actually raced against each other in the relay. That was the first relay, or I guess the 2017 summer relay, correct?
Yes, that one.
That
That's the
was
one.
that was a lot of fun. I kind of actually forgot that you ran RBO in that, and I think if I recall, you kind of put it together pretty fast. Like, didn't you? Didn't you just kind of like figure it all out in a few days and just knock it out?
Yeah, I think the week before the actual relay race, I just straight up just grinded a lot of the pretty much Ridley and Dragon fights. I felt like I was comfortable enough with Lower Norfair in general, but I did take a really safe Nutella route. So that
Gotcha.
was pretty much what made it possible for me to get that time.
You know, speaking of which, I just realized, I think every relay so far has been sort of a sign of respect for you from Fuzda because he has given you categories that you didn't necessarily know, but he had total faith that you would learn them, and do well. Like you did RBO, and then I think in the last relay for the winter relay, you did map completion, correct?
Yeah, I did.
And I think you learned that one straight from scratch right beforehand too, right?
Also, yeah, right before the relays, actually, I did not know any other categories. Like I'm
Wow.
talking about even prior to the 2017 summer relay, I did not know any other category except old route, any percent. That's all. So everything else I was learning as the multi-category tournament was happening, and obviously for this past relay that happened in the winter.
Cool. All right, so we'll come back to Super Metroid here in a little bit. I really want to get to know, you, the person, and the gamer a little bit more. So, talk to us a little bit about, just your memories of getting interested in video games in general. Like, what were some of your first consoles? Did you have friends or older brothers or sisters, anybody that played, or parents? Like, how did you kind of get into gaming? When you were like really young.
I I am the oldest of my siblings. Currently 27 years old, and my first console was when I was 3 years old. I think we got the Super Nintendo as soon as it came out.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why, and I'm ever so grateful that my parents, I don't know, I guess spoiled me. Really, they have been so kind enough to always just buy us like the newest games and stuff like that. It's a luxury that a lot of kids that I grew up with didn't have, and so I've been in Nintendo nerd my whole life. I've always just been standing Nintendo no matter what. Also, the first game that I ever played was the one that we just did a race for, that you just happened to stop by at the very end, the Super Mario World line race that we had with a couple of members on my Discord.
Yes, congratulations on the sub 2 hour time.
Yeah, thank you. And I didn't think it was gonna be that quick, but I'm glad it was because I didn't want to hold you guys up for too long. But I did that. Apparently, I there was another game, the second game that I ever owned. I never actually really knew the name. I just knew that you walked around in like some large field. It was really pixely, and then you fought dragons. And I never knew the name up until this past year. And apparently, it's called Draken.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. I know I haven't because I never heard the name again. And yeah, I've always just played two-player with my brother. Um, what else can I remember?
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Since you started off with a Super Nintendo, did you
Mhm.
actually play Super Metroid when it came out? Like when did you first play Super Metroid?
I played it in. It had to have been 95 or something. I played it because we had this local like video store where you could just rent videos, I guess, and video games, and they had Super Metroid, and it looked cool. Obviously, that cover art is really appealing.
It is.
I played it. I enjoyed it. I couldn't beat it in the 3 days that you had to pretty much have it out for rent. Um, it took me, I don't know even, it must have been like 4 times, 5 times that I had to keep on like asking my parents if we could go and pick up the game because I was addicted. I was like really, really hooked on it. And then one time I ended up missing almost like an entire weekend of gameplay because I was soft locked at the very bottom of the Edakuns.
Oh no.
So yeah, I never knew exactly what to do to wall jump out. That I had to restart the following week, I guess, anew
Brutal.
from the very beginning. Yeah, I got baited. It sucks, but very well worth the playthrough because obviously the replay value, as you can tell, that we speedrun it, is 200,000 billion % because it's just a game that I keep going back to. And then I loved the game growing up. It was a different experience. And then the fact that that experience transformed as I got to learn the speed run really adds a whole new dimension to it.
Dude, I think that's one of, like, what you're saying right here is part of why I consider this game to be one of the, like, true masterpiece video games ever made, regardless of what year, regardless of what system. Like, the experience that you get when you play it the first time is amazing. Exploration, not knowing anything, figuring stuff out. But then the speed run of it is, like, equally or even more fascinating in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, the tech that's in the game is so amazing. Like, some games are sort of like, they're okay casual, but they're great speed games. Or then some of them are like great casually, but as a speed game, maybe not so much. This one I feel like is like super great in both experiences. So, what led you to decide to start speedrunning it? Like, did you speedrun any other games beforehand, or what?
I like the community. let's be honest. Right now, the community is growing like exponentially. But back in 2014, the community was a little bit small and pretty intimate. I liked talking to Alucard and Wild and Crispy, getting to meet newcomers then, like J-Ro. I remember we had a rando race. I remember also racing people like Charles Black, Sickens, meeting Lexa and Kiza for the first time was a thrill. Meeting the Banana was beautiful. He's always a hilarious guy. Loved him. We caught him with his stream on, and he was just chilling, eating chips. It was pretty cool. And I didn't know about speedrunning. I guess the only knowledge I had with trying to complete a game as quickly as possible was just trying to get Sam mistaken. That's pretty much all it is. That's essentially what the game developers wanted to do. And also I guess task runs, but I thought those were just done for like show or whatever. And they are like really, really cool sometimes,
Right.
Watching some tasks, playthroughs. But I took a break. I took a break from Super Metroid. I got busy with IRL. There's a lot of things that I had to do beforehand. I took a break for maybe like a year, 2 years. And like it might have been in 2015, maybe early 2015 was when I wanted to learn Ocarina of Time. I spent a little time just kind of back when I actually did have webcam, mind you.
Wait, there used to be streams of you on webcam?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Yep. Those are all gone now, by the way. But there used to be streams of me with webcam, and there's a certain few that have seen me. They might not even remember me, to be honest, but it's people from the Ocarina of Time. I haven't kept up with them. And yeah, there was just that small little period. It might have been like a month.
There's got to be a Wayback Machine that we can use in order to find that.
There could be. If you guys want to look that up, it's up to you. Feel free. I just know I'm not going to start just yet. Although I have been considering it. I'll say that.
Well, I didn't even ask you for a picture because normally I ask the guests for a picture, but I already knew what the answer would be, so I didn't even bother to ask. Same thing happened with Sloters. I decided to ask him, and he was like, "No, I'm good." I was like, "Okay, well, I can respect that."
So yeah, well, it's keeping someone in mind.
Exactly. So, yeah, to your point about the community, one kind of big development within the community over the past, I guess maybe year is, it could be further. I actually just don't know because I haven't been around for super long time. But randos have come along and gotten really popular, and
Yes.
you did really well in the rando tournament. You do those every week, with friends. You really like randos. You do all different kinds. Talk to me a little bit about that kind of scene in Super Metroid. How do you feel about the randos that we have compared to other big ones? Like the Zelda, the Link to the Past one is really big. And, what about it kind of draws you in and keeps you interested?
I thought we weren't asking controversial questions. I'm just no, I'm just talking about what's been happening as of late over here with the combo randos. But obviously, there's a specific skill, honestly, that you need to play Super Metroid. It's not as because with comparing A Link to the Past randomizer to Super Metroid is honestly comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah, I agree.
There's some things that you have to do. You have to know some speedrun strats for Super Metroid. That's pretty much why it was made into a randomizer, so you can actually put those skills, some random little, trick that you might know, to the test and see how you can use it. Having to do suitless Maridia is really just a challenging thing, whether you want to race that or not, or something as simple as just doing a mock ball to early supers, which is obviously, I guess, enforced.
It's pretty much required in most of them.
Yeah, and even in the total one, the one that they made last year, you had to get a knockback or at least a deboost to the ceiling item for a major pickup, and sometimes that was Morph Ball. People were complaining that was a little bit too tough, but I'm glad. Someone asked me in a stream that I was doing last week, like, why is that? It's like, well, we're not. They said that you're not really going to expand, the community if you don't kind of like water down a little bit of the. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! Please, dude.
And I told them, well, first off, we're not really looking to expand. Like, if you're interested in a game, that's exactly why you came, to view this, or that's exactly why you want to get into this game, because you're up for the challenge. You're not going to let it stop you from learning what it takes to complete a randomizer. And I don't know. The overall, they've been new randos. I know Aaron Math came out with like a world rando that has like a logic world behind it. You can soft lock, but in a really weird way. But it makes it so that every room is actually connected and you actually follow a different map. It's the same rooms, but just differently placed, and it's a map that you can actually follow through.
Interesting. Cool. Well, Moss, do you have any questions for Sephi?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about, every time I'm watching you play, I noticed there's something new that you have been working on, or you're currently working on, or you're just kind of messing around with, in terms of like new strats or new tech, or just trying to find new ways to get through the room. And it always seemed to me that seems like one of the things that maybe fascinates you the most about Super Metroid. Am I kind of right?
You are hitting the nail right on the head, Mossy. Yeah. That's actually absolutely true, because I didn't like speedrunning this game. I'll put that out there right now. I really did not like it all of last year, and at the beginning of 2016 when I got back into it. I was really all just about learning the hardest tricks, the most difficult type of strat, trying to find out how, and I would teach myself. I never used a tutorial to learn this game. I would just eyeball and just look back and see what someone would do. And someone would recommend me to try to learn something, I would learn it. Trying to learn like Plasma Spark or something like the Back Gauntlet Spark. I know I requested for Eternized Dragon to give me a couple of tasks, strats to work on, to do just for the sake of doing them, like arm pumping and running past the ice skates.
Yeah.
Without mock ball or anything, without any sort of like speed booster. That was pretty fun. But that's always been something of me that I am really fond of doing, because I like to really just play really flashy. It looks really cool when a runner is able to execute, I don't know, a strat that they see and that they like to learn. And
Sure.
It also makes it puts on a good show for like people to watch, see what you can actually do with the game.
So do you spend a lot, is there much time that you're spending just like improvising and coming up with your own strats as well?
I wish that were the case.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really that much of an out of the box thinker.
Right.
Sometimes something might happen like on the fly that I'll get used to doing in my runs. I'm like, that's pretty unique. I haven't really done that.
Sure.
But everything else, I like putting some of the best strats that I see together, kind of to pay homage to those that influence me.
Yeah.
Those that I've seen, because although I might not be able to create my own strats, there's a lot of runners. That's why I watch everyone, and I tell this to everyone, that you really can learn from watching everybody as you're learning, or even as someone that might have a lower time than you. They might do something that's just unique. Everyone has their own flavor of play style that they do, that just kind of adds this zest to who they are and what they go for and how they progress as a runner.
Well, it's something that I think that you and I are kind of, similar, that like you're sort of like an encyclopedia of strats in a sense. Like you've got like, that this is the way that this person kind of does this room, but there's also, you pick up this thing from Anaconda, and then you pick up this thing that you saw Krauser do, and then you do, and it's really interesting, because I think that to a lot of players now, maybe you're watching one or two people, but you could probably, your own style can also kind of come from just, you've watched 50 people and you have a run that you've cobbled together from 50 different people. And, in a sense, your style is, an eclectic version of, 50 other people, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then because I know that you obviously you guys put up, strat chat for people to watch, and you guys like to expand to newer runners, or even to just people that are trying to improve their times in specific areas of the game, certain time saves that they might not really be aware of. And that's also kind of why I'm so open to try to invite someone to learn the game, or to try to go for another method. If I don't have like a certain solution for someone to learn a room, I could easily just offer up an alternative, something that might make it easier for a newer runner to just kind of navigate through a specific room or segment.
Sure. And to take that to like, talking about new runners, like if you were to give, a couple of general pieces of advice to new runners, do you have anything that come off the top of your head, things that people should be considering right off the top?
Right off the top, honestly, well, first and foremost, it's do the consistent stuff. Don't go for the swaggy stuff that I tried for, because that taught me my lesson, and I know, because I have like the experience from executing those type of strats, that it's really just not worth it to try to complicate your life with extra inputs when the room itself can be done in like, I don't know, 4 inputs or less.
Sure.
And on top of that, follow through with your runs. I'm a huge advocate for that, although I might not follow that exactly to the T, But when you're starting off, I can't stress it enough that you should follow through. No matter what happens, complete your runs.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I want to stop you right there for just a second because every time we have somebody come on and say that, we kind of address it. Like I think it's very important. It's a personal philosophy of mine. I think, anybody who's watched our Strat Chat, they've heard us talk about this before. But I think a lot of new players that are just getting into speedrunning see people that are operating very close to their max potential, going for a PB. And then when they don't get it, they start resetting. And so they think that they need to reset when they don't realize like how big of a gap they have as a new player.
Correct. Yeah.
And so they just think like, oh, these people are resetting, I should reset too. In reality, when you're first starting off, I mean, honestly, like I feel comfortable saying this. If you don't have a sub-hour, 80% old route time yet, like I don't really think there's a reason to ever reset.
No,
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there's just no reason to ever reset. You should just finish as many runs as possible, and then eventually you'll keep improving and get where you need to be. So can you expand on that just a little bit, Sevi, since you mentioned it? I mean, I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Because even now, I can see in my own times, just getting this PB that I got today, I really saw that I still have a huge time. So like I could mess up something like really bad and have like an 1840 Fantoon fight like I did this PB, and I know that I can actually still save a lot of time. I could save like maybe 20 seconds still just with that Fantoon kill. Like even me, I should not be resetting myself. No matter what, just I get it that a newer runner should just really play through the game and familiarize themselves with like a lot more intricate subtle movement types of things. But even when you're trying to push for a PB, because I see you also like follow through with a PB. You might be like a minute, 2 minutes behind, but you still follow through. There's some goals, especially when you have splits. There's some goals that you can at least try to mine for. There's something that you can improve. There's something that you might be able to piece together, or that's something that might just automatically click, just because either you feel like you're not too invested in the run, but you have enough experience just grinding out the runs, grinding out the category. That's really all I could say.
Well, wise words. So real quick, Moss, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And Sevi, you're still there too?
Yeah, right here.
All right, cool. So, I guess my next question relative to everything that you've talked about is, obviously you have a really good 80%, PB already, but, you're going to continue to push it. What is your specific goal for 80% old route? And then what do you think are some of your goals, in the game overall that you think you might want to try to get to over the next year or so?
So for any percent, although the dream would be to get a 44, because that's just something that I see from a lot of the top tier runners. The newly, I guess Slaughter's got his 44, and to follow what he's achieved would be so great, so glorious to attain. But I don't know if I'd be really grinding that out, because when I got my 45, I did say that I was just done with this category, because the goal really was just to get a 45, and then the overall goal was really just to bop CFB, which finally it happened. For Hundo, someone told me I could go for 117 if I wanted to, but I think just sub 120 for now might do. It depends on what happens when I get to 119.
Yeah, sub 120 is, really hard anyway. So the fact that you're almost, there is really good.
Yeah, it's just I like the endurance that you have to like go through and run those. It's exhaustive, yeah, but it really keeps you in the zone sometimes. Like for some parts of the run, you kind of just really get it going, and it feels so smooth when you're running a really good 100% route.
For me, I found that like once I got a 119, I was like, I need to take a break from hundo though. Like to
I
push,
remember that,
if
yeah.
if you're around a 120, to push for a 119 takes a lot of work. And then but after taking some time and doing something like I did RBO after that, and like you're going from a category where you never die to a category where you always die. And so after a while, I was craving hundo, and that helped me, because then I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do a 118. Let's go. And I think for me, it's the same. Like I'm gonna hopefully try to get a 117 at some point, but I need to get hungry for the category again in some ways.
Yeah, and congrats to you again on getting that 118.
Oh,
I remember
thanks.
the pushing for that 119. I think it might have been, I don't know, like October.
Yeah, that sounds
Maybe
about right.
in November of last year. Yeah, you pushing for that sub 120 was something somewhat taxing, just because the run is so long. But
Yeah.
push through, you got it, and yeah, I can only imagine what it'll take to save those 42 seconds right now for me on my PB.
Are you doing the early croc or the late croc at this point?
Doing early croc. I was doing late croc at the beginning, but I always ended up having to take refills right after wreck ship. I would take way too much damage. I really wasn't practicing wreck ship enough. I might change it back though, now that I'm familiar with a lot of because attic was really the room that was farming my energy every single time, and I would lose a lot of energy. And then of course you go for the robot flush strat,
Which you taught me. That's how I learned that strat.
yeah, you've gotten it down like really, really well. I'm glad that you go for it.
Yeah, every time. I love it.
It's really such a wonderful strat. It's just I think I saw you teaching it too. It's like, yep, because I was lurking. I had it playing while I was at work. I was like, I know.
Yeah,
that
well,
strat.
I've not seen a tutorial on it. I mean, you taught me live in a stream, but I just kind of remembered it and then just watched the Behemoth do it a bunch and kind of just figured out my own visual cues in a sense. But I haven't really seen anyone post an actual tutorial on how to do it at this point.
Yeah, it's I don't know. For me, it's a strat that just kind of, I mean, it's one of the strats that just looks really cool to go for. But
Yeah.
it's a weird one to try to teach. I mean, obviously, I know that you could do it though.
So what's I mean, we're talking hundo tonight. Is there anything in late Maridia that stands out to you as something you'd like, good to talk about or good to mention? Post Dragon essentially.
Yes, there's a lot of post Dragon, because I was looking at my PB, and I guess my time, my spatial time is like a 46:15 or something, and that's already like on pace for a 118.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that there's so much time save, you guys are covering? Are you trying to cover both late and early croc, or?
Yeah, I mean,
How
we'll
are you
probably
approaching
talk
it?
about, like, when we get to the ice clip, we'll talk about both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering.
And by we, he means him, because
Well, we can talk.
well, because Moss.
I'd love to hear your opinions on it, Kipp.
My opinions are going to be like, boys and girls, you should do exactly what Moss says, because he actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to hundo. Y'all know that hundo is not my strong suit.
I mean, post Dragon, there really is just the sand pits to clean out. Going over how to actually get a couple of, it's like minute, but getting the quick falls down sand, water, or like sand falls or whatever is really important, just to get you down the also kind of like morphing and unmorphing as you're going down the sand falls as well. That's also really important.
Yeah.
Saves you some time there.
By the way, is it just me, or like, does it feel like Maridia is the sneaky, like when you first start playing, it ends up becoming the sneaky most complex part of almost every category, like in terms of movement? Like
it really,
you know what I mean?
You. It's really not just you. I think everything after Dragon once you're at Dragon, I feel like that's late game. From there on out, like not just like really trying to complete all of Torian or whatever. I'm talking about like late game, post Dragon, up to like Ridley. That's one of the segments that tends to, yeah, like you said, sneakily kind of creep on you and gets you to waste time. I don't know how. I don't know where the time goes either.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
true. It's sneaky.
it's something about exiting Maridia as fast as possible. Um, just keep at it. Practice that segment. Post Dragon is not easy. You're gonna be covering some stuff that might seem like I like you just look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, I can do that. That's not too bad. But aside from the ice clip, everyone really kind of tends to dread the ice clip.
Hmm.
But I don't even know how many setups you're gonna go for that one. I know Nutella had a fairly consistent setup.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Nutella's one tonight.
Cool, good. I'm so glad that you guys are covering that one because that one can be a lifesaver if you when you learn it.
Okay, Sevi, before we let you go, there's one
Yep.
more thing that I want to cover with you. And maybe I'm biased. I don't feel like I am. I feel like this is an objective statement, okay? We have a lot of tournaments. We have, a lot of races, all kinds of cool stuff that happens where, people are, racing each other or we're being featured on speed gaming and stuff like that. And in my opinion, I think that you are the premier Super Metroid community commentator for all competitive ventures. Okay, so can you talk to us a little bit about what it is about that you enjoy? I mean, like you're really good at it. Not only are you good at explaining what's happening in a way that maybe somebody who's unaware might if they don't know what's happening, you do a good job of explaining it in a way where they can kind of grasp a hold of it. But you also do a really good job of having like colorful commentary and a lot of personality. So can you just explain a little bit about what draws you to the commentator role and sort of what your trick is to it?
Okay, so I really do, as you can tell, like not just from like the swag strats that I've practiced or whatever. I like to put on a good show, and Super Metroid, the game, the speedrun community, like it's all wonderful people that I've come to know and grow along with. I like putting my time into that. It's something that I pride myself in. People get to come together, enjoy a stream, and enjoy a run. For me, just being able to add an extra entertainment, something that just can get the people to laugh, get the people to genuinely and sincerely have a good time, is just one of the best feelings when you kind of do that for someone. Um, I like seeing people get a kick out of what's going on. I think I was talking to Toasty and Tracy, yeah, about like some of the coined phrases that happen during the rando tournament, like Jagated and like microwave. I got to hear that even Oats recognized it as microwave. And I was like, I've made it. I've made it. I've made it. Some top tier runner. I mean, Oates is a really good guy, but like he knows that that's the microwave strat, and I'm like, I don't know what I've done, and honestly, it's infectious. I don't know, just getting people to go along and just play a little game. I don't know, just having to troll around, because I like to troll. I'm not gonna lie. I love messing with people. I mean, check all, I don't know, 420 alt accounts that I have. But I never do it in a malicious manner to push someone away,
Right.
Like I do it to let them know that I'm willing to play with you and I'm willing to be friendly with you. But I'm also going to give you a push. Like it's going to be like a tough love type of thing.
Right.
Like sincerely, I love everyone from the community and I really hope it continues to grow. I miss a lot of people that used to run this game. It was fun being able to talk to them, race with them. But as some people go out, other people's come in.
Well,
And, yeah.
As a nod to what people in the chat said, which I was planning on saying anyway, I just, on behalf of both me and Moss, we want to say thank you very much for coming on to Strat Chat and making the time for us. We really appreciate it. Quote me.
You guys heard him quote him. Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was fun, and as I said, honestly, an honor being able to do this with you and you, Marcia. Both of you are just spectacular runners. Just picking up the game in such a short time. Really, it's a short time, and then just running away with it, becoming, household names of the SM community and representing us, doing us proud. Kipp on Kippin', and Moss to the awesomeness.
My heart.
Well, thank you, Sephi. And at this point, I think for anybody, y'all can see it up here on the stream right now. Sephi's main Twitter account is Antinomy. It's spelled out there for you on the screen. And not only is he doing runs of different categories, he's also doing a lot of rando races. And he's incredibly helpful to anybody who asks questions. I think tonight you're going to go back to streaming. What are you going to be doing tonight, Sephi?
Most likely, every pretty much it's been on the daily that there's rando races. So I don't know if people just want to also just at any time, just ping someone on the Super Metro Discord and just ask for a rando race. Someone's always willing, trust me, willing to hop in and just do some races. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Maybe attempt some hundo, maybe hopefully break into that sub 120, but that's pretty much going to be the evening for me.
Cool. Well, guys, I know just about everybody here, I'm sure, has already followed Sephi, but if you haven't, go check him out. He has a really entertaining stream. Sephi, thank you so much once again, dude. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. You guys have fun. All right, learn a lot. I'm going to test you guys. Trust me and quote me on that. All right.
Great. Thanks, Sephi.
All right, Sephi. Good night, man. Okay, so
good night.
At this point, Moss is going to hang up on the line. We're going to recall and get his thing set up so he can start showing some of these hundo strats. Big shout outs to Sephi again. I can't say it enough. A super, super awesome, nice guy. Great Super Metroid player. And really great teacher of the game as well. So let me get Moss on the line here. And we'll get set up for his display.
Yo.
What's up, Mossy? First of all, I didn't really get a chance to say it earlier because your thing got disconnected, but welcome home, man. Hope you had a nice travel today.
Yeah, just, up north at the cottage. And, actually, what was happening was I had to, get all my gear and set everything up really quickly. And I didn't realize that I put some of my gear on top of my modem. So my modem was just overheating is what was happening.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, well, I'm going to toss...
Great. Yeah, Kipp, I love, feel free to just, pop in comments the whole time. If you want to just be like, that's cool. I like that. That's great. Cut me off whenever you want. That's, I'd much prefer it that way. Okay, wonderful. All right. Hello, everybody. So, I think we ended just going into Dragon last time. So, we're going to assume that you've killed Dragon and do pretty much everything up to, I guess, the Kraid, returning to Kraid's lair, basically. I think that's essentially, yeah. So we'll go to there more or less, and we'll see how we do. Really quickly, let's talk a little bit about Spike Suit. Kipp, do you do Spike Suit at all? All right, let's hear it. Oh, okay. Great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. This is the category where most people will be doing Spike Suit. It mainly, you have a lot of health at this point, so it's, you can usually afford to take damage and, anyways, most people will do it in Hundo if they're able to. So the story with Spike Suit is you have to have Blue Suit, or rather you have to have a Shine Spark charged. So meaning this, when you're flashing, you have to have that active. Now, most people will have that accomplished by having Blue Suit from Dragon beforehand. The difference between Spike Suit and Blue Suit is that Blue Suit holds a Shine Spark. Essentially, you're in your blue, like as if you were doing your speed boost run. And so you're storing a Shine Spark, but you have to activate it first. You have to push down to activate your Shine Spark, and then you can use it wherever.
Okay, so
the downside is...
I'm sorry, Moss, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but number one, I wanted to test to make sure I'm coming through because they told me they couldn't hear me. I think I got it fixed now, but so just to clarify, because I want to make sure I understand this too, we're talking about a Spike Suit, but technically it's called a Spike Suit because you can get it off of spikes, but you can also get it off electricity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is... I think it's technically, it's called the Yellow Suit glitch, maybe.
Okay.
I think that's right, or Shine Spark Suit, maybe.
But they're pretty much all the same thing. There's no actual difference. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which one we're talking about here, but we're using the same technique to get this suit as you would if you were hitting spikes. So essentially treating these turrets as spikes. So Blue Suit's great because you get to hold the Shine Spark, and it means that you can spark back across the reverse full happy. The downside is that you can't run. As soon as you run, you lose Blue Suit. And so you've essentially ruined your Shine Spark. So, you have to be really careful when you're, when you have Blue Suit not to ruin it. But the advantage to having the Spike Suit or the Shine Spark suit is that you can run and you actually have a Shine Spark ready to go. And the way you achieve it is you have to take damage while you're in a charged Shine Spark. So you charge your Shine Spark by crouching, and then you have to take damage, and you have to unmorph essentially on the frame that you start. You have to be balled up, and you have to take damage while balled. You have to unmorph on the frame which you take damage, and then I think ED will probably be able to tell exactly. I think it's 8 frames or maybe 10 frames. I can't remember exactly how many frames afterwards you take damage. You have to push. You have to trigger the Shine Spark by essentially pushing jump again. So there are 2 locations that people tend to do it. In this location here, and also if you're doing late Crocomire, you can do it, get a Shine Spark suit from the spikes. So it's a real spike suit then. That one's harder because you can't unmorph. You'll have Spring Ball at that point. So you can't unmorph using jump. So you have to unmorph using up. And then press the jump button 9 frames later. There you go. Thanks, Owl. So it's harder because you can't just mash essentially the jump button in order to you have to press 2 different buttons at essentially frame perfect timing. So it's harder to get the second one. But I'm just going to explain the way I do this setup for the Spike Suit. And maybe it'll help people understand a way to do it. So let's put on Blue Suit. So all I do is I stand right here with Blue Suit, and I crouch, and then without running, I just push forward and jump. I do a little spin jump. I'm trying to bounce into this thing in between the 2 turrets. I'm trying to bash into that with my spin jump. Okay, so the reason I do that is that way I'm still in ball, and I'm moving upward, but I'm right up against the turret. So let's try that one more time. So I'll crouch just like that. So you notice I'm like immediately up against the turret. If I push right for 1 frame, I'm taking damage. And the reason I like doing that is that way you can essentially push right and jump like 1 frame apart. It's kind of an easier motion rather than trying to time the jump, the unmorph, like on the frame that if you come from here and you try to do it like on the frame that you hit the turret, it's sort of harder to time. So I just do it like this. I stand and I just try to press right and jump 1 right after the other. It just, to me, helps the first frame perfect input. And then I just have a timing set up for, in my muscle memory for when I push jump again. So the inputs are right, jump, and then jump again. So right jump are like 1 frame apart, basically. And then the second jump is about 9 frames later. So we'll try it a couple of times to show you. So that is a bad thing, what I just did there. If you automatically spark up after doing these inputs, it means that you probably pushed your second jump like a frame too early, and you've actually lost the shine spark at this point. So what you want to see is Samus kind of go into the like the little hop. It looks sort of like this when she does a shine spark. That little animation. You want to see her go into that full animation and then just freeze in position. So this is what you're going to see if I can do it. There it is. So you're looking for that to happen. And so you notice like I'm just frozen in position. And once that happens, I push jump and up. And now I should have the shine spark suit. So I can run, and then when I want to, I just trigger a shine spark like normal. It does take practice for sure. I find this a very consistent way to do it though. So one thing you want to make sure you do is, if you do get the inputs correct, you want to wait until you see Samus turn blue before you shine spark up. If you shine spark up too early, so you do right jump, jump, and then wait until you've turned blue to shine spark straight up the first time. So and that way, like if you do it too early, you're going to actually mess it up again. So there's actually a final input at the end. It's not timed. Just do it, really late. So you do right, jump, jump. You wait for Samus to turn blue, and then shine spark straight up. And once you do that, you should have your shine spark suit.
And real quick, Moss, correct me if I'm wrong. I know we're going over Hundo, but just for anybody who's unaware, for example, this is kind of a big difference between the 80% old route and new route. You don't really lose a ton of time in old route by just keeping the blue suit, because you get space jump and you can kind of get out. But if you're a new route, you're not getting space jump. So for you to keep a blue suit, you'd have to do like a gravity jump, I think. So long story short, like it's actually way faster, in certain categories. Obviously it's faster, period, but it gains more time or more utility in certain aspects.
It's definitely in new route. It's definitely advantageous to know how to do this, and it does saves a little bit of time in Hundo as well. So I think that's essentially all I'm going to say about it. So just again, the way I do it, I jump into this wall and continue to jump straight up. I just hold jump, all the way up. So a full jump, I morph somewhere around here, and then I just push right and jump like 1 frame after another, and then try to push jump, 9 frames later. The timing for the 2 jump buttons is just, again, it's just muscle memory. You have to put time in with it. You can do it with doing if you mess it up, you can just do a short charge and try it again. So I can do something like this and then just try it again. There. Done. So anyways, it does take some practice. The one thing you want to watch out for is if you do have spike suit, you don't want to jump straight up. You always want to do spin jumps from now on, because you'll ruin your spike suit if you jump straight up. So be careful if you do this, if you end up here, you miss your jump and you land here. This is a dangerous place when you have shine spark suit. Turn around, do a spin jump up, because if you just try to jump straight up, you're gonna ruin your shine spark. So just be aware of those things. Anyway, I think that's all we really need to say with that section.
I'm looking forward to getting my first spike suit tonight.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna assume you have either blue suit or shine spark suit, but we'll do both ways anyway. So the way I like to come up here is I like to wall jump. I usually do the last wall jump right around this crack in the pipe, or the bend in the pipe. By doing that, I can get right up and wall jump off of this, and it just sort of puts me up perfectly right here. So I go sort of to like this position. Oop. Shoot the door. Now, if you have blue suit, The riskier way to do blue suit is to charge the Shine Sparkle right here. You get a little more run speed. It's riskier though, because then you're on the clock. You have to do this next room very quickly. But either way, do your Shine Spark right here. If you are, actually, it's a good thing to note though, if you are going to do blue, if you do have blue suit, let's actually put blue suit on for a second. If you do have blue suit, if you want to charge your blue suit up here, that's fine. But don't do your Shine Spark from a crouch position. We've talked a bit about how crouch jumps, when you're crouched and you jump up, you actually start your jump, I think it's like 4, 5, 6 frames higher than your normal jump. It allows you to jump higher. But the problem is if you do it from here, so if I do a Shine Spark from a crouch position here, I'm not going to make it across all the way. I'm going to bang into that thing right there. So just watch out if you do start doing blue suit. If you're going to do it from here, it's fine. Crouch, stand up, and then do your Shine Spark. Don't do a Shine Spark from a crouch position. Little thing, but definitely worth looking at. Let's assume so if you botch if you don't have blue suit or spike suit, probably the fastest way to get through is there is a jump called Wample jump, but it's pretty hard. We'll talk about the easier ways. I like to just try to deboost off of as many spikes as I can on the way back. So I'll deboost off of this guy, try to land on this one, and then jump up here. So that'll look something like this. Oop, not like that. You can even do a space jump into it if you want. Oops. And then get up here. And if you want to keep, doing deboosts all the way, that's fine too. The other option is to just get as much run speed as possible and just space jump your whole way across. This is perfectly fine. I don't even know if I'm probably thinking of any percent, or new any percent, where you don't even have space jump. You'll definitely want to deboost, but you could probably just space jump through. No big deal. Okay, so this room. The only thing that's really worth noting, it's not a big deal, but there's a little bit of lag in this room, especially when you come through later with upgraded weapons. So it's kind of good to try to kill a couple of Moctroids on the way down. It doesn't take any time, so I just shoot one straight. And I shoot this one sort of at the bottom of this door. I shoot straight down. See, a little too early there. Bottom of the door. I do a one tap through here. So I'm charging my run somewhere. So I'm just holding run right around there. You want to do a one tap because if you don't, it's possible that you might end up in this pit right here. And then you have to go back and, reset and whatnot. So I usually do a one tap to get through this section. This E-Tank, you're going to be coming through this room twice, so you can get it either the first time or the second time. It kind of just depends. Like, if you feel that your health is too low, get it the first time, and then you're probably going to be fine the second. You won't have trouble with health. I don't think you're really ever, in most situations, going to have that much trouble with your health. So get it whenever you want, really. I like to get it the first time. So what I try to avoid doing this, where you try to jump and turn around in midair. It's actually pretty hard to get in, to not lose your, you kind of keep a lot of momentum going to the left. It's hard to do a turnaround like that. So I just stop. Right here in the sand and turn around and jump from the ground. Ooh, not like that. Stop in position. Turn around, ball up, grab this. Okay, if you can, you want to try to quick drop through sand. In general, anytime you're entering sand, you can do quick drops. So simplest way to do it is aim down, and then turn around just before you hit the sand. And if you do it well, so you notice I kind of got all, up to my head in the sand. You can go all the way down though. You can go all the way down into the door, into the room transition. It just takes timing to get it just right. I'm going to see if I can get this. There's a little there's a kind of a cute deboost here, and let's see if I can set it up. Nope, I don't think so. This next area, there's a couple of, the next room is pretty interesting. Here, let's see if I can get this set up now. I think I should have it here. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to just hold this. Ooh, this may not work anyways. Oh, it would have worked. Okay, great. So we're in good shape. So when I came down through that sand, this is a little thing, but this is something that some people will, the advanced strat now for getting through this next room, is as I did a turnaround, I actually took damage. And so I took damage during the room transition. So I'm just holding jump and left, and it actually just, you hold your deboost all the way through this room, and you continue to hold it into this room as well. So you're literally going all the way, through the sand with the deboost, and you continue it into this room. It's not necessary, but it can be used to take damage off of these guys. So this room is an interesting one. It sets up for the next one really, really well. It's hard to do to set up. There's some really cool stuff in the next room. And it all lies around this stupid thing right here, this ouch. I hate this ouch. I think I hate this ouch more than I hate any other enemy in Hundo. I just hate this ouch so much. It can, if he's in the wrong position or you don't do things perfectly, it just ruins the next room. And the next room is so swag. I hate it.
Yeah, he's a troll. He's a low ice troll too.
Yes, I hate it. I hate this ouch. Anyways, you want to try to take damage and run through this ouch while you have iframes. So the way that most people do it is they take damage off of one of these guys. So let's talk about the old way that a lot of people will do it is, actually, let's just come in with the deboost. Okay, I may not use it, but the old way, this is the way I learned from Sweetnum, is you'll just ball up, take damage, land around here, try to unmorph like a soft unmorph, meaning unmorph right as you hit the ground. And then you're going to do a 3-tap. And I shoot on each tap. So I'll go 1, 2, 3. You see the ouch kind of ruined it there. And now you have to do it quickly because you have a certain amount of iframes to get past this ouch. And you want to get past them so that you can keep blue suit. So it'll look something like this. 1, 2, 3. See? Just ruins it for you. So I don't use this ball up strat anymore. What I actually do is I just do a little deboost off of these guys if I can. 1, 2, 3. See, it's like the movement of the ouch is kind of random, and so just I'm in the one of my least favorite setups for it. Okay, there we go. So what this allows you to do is you actually can go right through all of these. It saves a little bit of time, but it's really, really cool. So I'm just going to show you the couple of ways that you can take damage. Either you can ball up, like I was showing, this sort of what I call the Sweetnum strat, ball up, unmorph, and do a 3-tap. Or you can do a little deboost. And then, like I said, a 3-tap, shooting on each tap. And you want to jump, as late as possible through the door so that you can definitely get blue suit. The timing on these taps is not as important the first time through. You're going to do this room twice. And the timing, it's harder. Your timing is a little bit tighter the second time. One of the cool things that I've seen Behemoth and I think Zost do is they do use the deboost from the room previously. And they kind of deboost like that into these. They get pushed into these enemies, then deboost again and use that to get through. It's really, really cool. Something like that. I don't do it because I'm really inconsistent with it, but that's something that, the best players will do. It's very cool. If you want to try it, you want to go for it. But I don't know. It's just cool to talk about all the different strats. Easiest way to get through this, probably. Avoid the ouch, just jump over it, or do something like this. Space jump over the ouch, shoot the door, and go through. Okay, let's go through with the blue suit. We'll just talk about the soft lock room. Okay, good enough. All right, so this is where you can soft lock the game in Hundo, like that. You can't get out now. You can't. So if you do this, you are trapped, and the game is over. I remember hearing someone saying that if you could Crystal Flash, you might be able to get out. I don't know if that's actually true, but you're probably not going to have the right health for that to even be a situation. So what's happening here is I'm doing a little space jump with blue suit, little space jump around here. I'm balling up in a morph ball, and then I'm unmorphing. This is what we call a speed keep usually, I think, or maybe it's blue suit retention, maybe. Speed keep, I think, is something different. So what I'm doing is I'm mockballing or speedballing, and then I'm unmorphing, and I'm holding an angle. And if you do that, you notice I'm keeping blue suit, and I can hold it indefinitely. And you can keep the blue suit actually into one jump. So if you hold angle, you can actually keep it for your jump. This is something that you use in the left side Addex strat. It's not necessary for this room exactly, because if you unmorph right around here, so I roll, like I kind of roll from the mock ball, I roll up at the right time, and you'll go straight through like that. Make sure you hold up the whole way down, because you'll go through all of them like that. But what I actually do is I don't just roll up. When I hit the mock ball, I hold R, aim up, angle up. The reason I do that is because if I'm a little too early, if I unmorph here, if I'm holding the angle button, I've still got my blue suit. And then it doesn't mean I've lost this trick, because I can still jump down through this section. So I do a little, I hold angle up as soon as I've mockballed, and then I unmorph. I try to unmorph here and not have to even deal with the little jump. But if I'm a little early, it's okay. I can still get through. All this does, though, is it literally just saves you the time of going like that. It's pretty minor the first time through. The second time, it's a little bit, saves a bit more time. But it's just really cool. I really, really love this room because of these strats. Good thing to practice. If you fall in, don't panic. Just jump out. You've got a little bit of time. So if you are about to soft lock, don't, oh my God, just, you've got time. So let's try just to show you. Oops, jump. Lots of time. So just don't panic. It's good to practice getting out, like having the muscle memory if things go wrong. Like when I'm practicing it, I'm just getting used to, like if I'm practicing trying to do the strat, I also am just practicing getting out if things go wrong, so that I'm prepared for the situation. You never want to actually, I don't think I've ever actually soft locked the game, knock on wood, at this point. So just practicing getting back out. If you don't want to do the strat, just instead of having blue suit, just come in, space jump, and mock ball through. Not a big deal. Anyways, the big point is you're down here at this point. You're going to run and do a turnaround. So sand is kind of a weird thing in this game. I don't... AGDQ 2007. Yeah, I think you're right, Canadian Owl. I think maybe it was Anaconda that almost got stuck. Someone almost got stuck and had to jump out immediately. So anyways, with sand physics, it's kind of weird, but morphing and unmorphing actually drops you faster. So I don't have a time for it. I'm just literally spamming down and jump over and over again on the way down. It's just a little faster. All right, you have 2 items to grab here. So I just wall jump up, left, right, left, grab the item, weave back down. And I end right on the far left side of this wall. Because if I'm on the far left, I get a little more run speed to space jump my way across to this one. So I just do little space jumps the whole way. And then somewhere around here, I just do a big space jump and I morph immediately. stand up, shoot this, get your item. On your way. Oh, I should note, at some point, if you're doing the ice clip, somewhere around here is a good point to switch on your ice and spazer. I actually do it in the sand previously. So in this sand that I just came through, instead of morphing and unmorphing, I'll menu switch on ice and spazer.
Right. So
and then come through.
Quick kind of reminder. The what Moss is talking about is there's essentially kind of two routes for hundo. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Moss, but generally
You're
speaking,
right.
the early ice beam, ice clip route is the more advanced one.
Yes.
It has it's not just the clip itself that's the hard part. I mean, that is difficult, but it also means you have a little less health going into wreck ship, stuff like that, because you don't get grapple and the crocky tank until late. But it is a little faster. So long story short, if you're running the more traditional hundo route, the one that's probably a little more friendly to newer players, you probably won't have to worry about menuing here because you won't have ice beam yet anyway. But if you are running the one that Moss is referring to, obviously you turned it off so that you could use X Factors on Batoon and Dragon. So you'd have to turn it back on.
Yeah, so I turned off my items. You can do it in a couple of places to equip just wave and charge. It sort of depends on the way you fight Fantoon. If you're going to X Factor Fantoon, usually people will turn off all their weapons except wave and charge. Usually during the Shine Spark into wreck ship. That's kind of a common time to do it. If you're going to Doppler Fantoon, then most people will do the item change to wave and charge on the Gauntlet Spark. Because that's the time where you might be using your menu anyways to trigger your reserve tank to survive the Gauntlet Spark.
That's a really good point. I hadn't actually thought about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Depending on which route you're going to be doing, you have to think a little bit about when you're going to be doing these item things. I often find, actually, like, I usually try to do this item change in the sand pit above, but sometimes I get to this item. This item is kind of my check. I get to here, and I notice that I don't see ice. And so I'll be like, oh shit, I have to switch it on. So I'll grab power bombs, and then I'll just do it right here as I'm falling. I'll switch on ice and spazer. That's just sort of my backup, but you can kind of do it however you want. Okay, so another quick drop here. The best place to drop down, I use this crack. You want to be just right of the crack. This is sort of the ultimate, like the farthest to the left you can go. You notice that if I'm standing here, I don't sink any further. But if I move a little bit more to the right, just past the crack, I'm going to sink into the next room. So that's kind of the visual cue I use. Let me get those items once more. So little space jumps, fall up, grab this item. Now I notice I don't have ice on, so I'll do it right here. Ice, spazer. And then here, all I'm just going to do is I just do a couple little space jumps and I try to do a turnaround. You want to be as far to the left as possible, if you can. The reason is, by doing that, you can actually deboost off of, these guys are called Evirs, I think. So you can deboost off of the Evirs projectile, and it gets you sort of this location. Something good to know about this deboost: don't release right or jump until you've landed in the sand. If you do it too early, if you release after the deboost, if you release too early, you can sometimes turn around and sink in deep into the sand. If you time it, if you do it at just the wrong time. See that? Yeah. So if I just release right a little too early, and by doing that, I stank too much. I think it also happens if you release jump. Yeah. So don't release jump or right until you've landed on the ground. You'll usually land just with your ankles into the sand. So deboost, hold the inputs, Once you see Sam is starting to move to the right, you just, try to, in one jump, try to get over this and space jump to this point. Okay, so this is where the break in the two routes kind of happens. It's a small break. It's just getting into Shacktool's room. We'll do Ice Clip first, just because I've got this equipped, and then we'll talk about the, I think it's called the Pants Room, the other way into Shacktool. Okay, so Ice Clip. There's two strats I'm going to show. The first one is one that I learned from Nutella. Nutella's awesome. Shout outs to Nutella. This strat is great if you'd want to learn how to do Ice Clip, because it's really, really consistent. It takes about 10 to 11 seconds. So it's about 4 seconds maybe slower than the second strat that I'm going to show. It's way more consistent, way less risky. I'll only go for the second strat that I'm showing, which I'm going to call the Behemoth strat. I only do it when I'm feeling risky. If I've got a really good run going, I'm not doing the riskier one. So I kind of just do it like if I want to save time, if I'm like behind a bit and I want to, just go for it and try to save a little bit of time, I'll do it. But let's take a look at the two of them. So they both start the same way. You've got Ice, Wave, Spazer equipped, and you hold angle up, have a full charge, and try to get, pretty good running speed into the room. So running in with a full charge angled. We'll save right here. And if you do this perfectly, if you release your inputs, you're going to do a couple of things. 3 things will happen if you release all of your inputs. You'll freeze this Puyo in place. You will destroy the bricks on the right, but not the bricks on the left, which is pretty important, depending on which strat you're doing. And you'll also not fall off of this platform. So I release inputs, and all 3 of those things happen. The next thing you do is, as soon as you see that Puyo is frozen, you just shoot straight forward. Shoot. And that way you're going to freeze the Puyo that's underneath right here. This is sort of the best location for this one, roughly around here. So all these things have to happen. There's a lot of stuff, but let's just start assuming you've got this thing down. Oops. Shoot. You're going to jump on this Puyo. And then there's something weird about this room. I don't really understand it. But if you're hugging up against, let's just clear these guys out for a second. If you're hugging up against, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, weird. Okay, let me just clear these guys and sort of explain it. So when you first come into this room, if you're hugging up against this wall as you go up past these bricks, the game doesn't scroll up. And in fact, it looks like you've sort of gone out of bounds. You're not out of bounds, but it looks, you sort of wrap around to the bottom of the screen if you jump up far enough. So let's show that again. So I'm going to try to jump right into this wall here. Okay. So if I don't jump right into that wall, you'll see if I jumped into the wall a little too late and the room scrolled up. It's really important that you don't scroll the room up, because if you scroll the room up, this top Puyo that just jumped down, this is what it's all about, this guy right here. You have to freeze him at a very, very specific timing, a very specific position in order to jump on top of him and then clip through this ceiling here. So you can't scroll the screen upward. So by jumping directly into this wall, we avoid that. So after I jump into this wall, I'm going to, in a pretty big arcing motion, I'm going to jump over to the left, essentially trying to jump over the frozen Puyo that's right here. So I'll show you that. Oops, only shoot him once. So you're going to jump up and jump over this Puyo here. You'll notice the screen scrolled just a little bit as I did that. That's just fine. Okay, so that's stage 1. Let's just freeze right there. Okay. You don't want to land on the Puyo. You want to jump over him, because if you land on him, the screen will scroll up twice, and you don't want that to happen. So all you do now is you just angle down and shoot this guy. And this part, you can take as much time as you want. You just wait for this block to fill back in again. Then I hold charge and aim down. And I walk right up to this wall. Okay, now this is the hardest bit, but it's pretty consistent with the Nutella strat. So what I do is I do a full jump and I hold right. And this is going to put you into you're going to take damage off of the Puyo just above me. As soon as you take damage, you release all your inputs, and you should freeze the Puyo in the perfect position. Or rather, not all your inputs. Sorry, just releasing shot. You want to keep your angle down. You want to hold L. Continue to hold L. So as soon as I take damage, I'm going to release shot and jump. And that freezes him perfectly so that you can clip through. The position is very important. The move, like the location and position of the Puyo is very, very important. It takes a long time to get really consistent with this, but it's actually it gets pretty free once you get used to it. Okay. So the freezing is the hardest part. Once you've frozen the Puyo, you just got to spin jump on top of him while he's frozen, crouch, and jump, and you're up. So it sounds like a lot, and it is, but it is a really cool strat to try to learn. Oops, I released it too early. I released too early. Remember, after you take damage is when you want to release. There you go. And you're up. So let's do the slightly harder strat.
Hey, real quick, Moss.
Yes.
It's actually cool that we're going over this because we mentioned earlier that a lot of people like to do randos. I actually found out last year during our rando tournament that very rarely, but sometimes this trick can actually be enforced in the tournament logic. So we have a lot of people that run randos every single day. So this is a good trick for them to at least be aware of in case they happen to need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great trick. It's a really, really interesting one. And it's really cool that Nutella found this like very stable way of doing it. So let's quickly look at the Behemoth strat. So Behemoth uses a slightly different one. It's faster. It's about 4 seconds faster because you don't have to wait for the block on the right to reform in order to do it. He has to do this because he doesn't have aim down. So he can't stand still and hold the angle down. He has to hold right and down while running in order to do an aim down shot. So he has to do this strat. But like I said, it is faster and relatively consistent. Starts the same way. So you come into the room exactly the same way. So freeze this guy. You're going to jump over this one. Oops. See, I jumped a little too high, and I actually hit this. You don't want to hit this wall here because it'll cause the room to scroll up. So try to avoid that. I mean, really, it just comes from playing it enough to know what it feels like. So all I do here is I just hold aim down. I'm up against the wall. And then I just run a little bit. And I jump right here. So like just between this brick and this square, sort of around here. Kind of like right where you would grab the item from the Puyo. Usually he drops something. Just as you grab the drop, you're going to jump. And then essentially just release the inputs in the same time. So once you take damage, just release shot. So it's almost the same thing. You just get a running start at it. It's a little bit of a tighter window is the thing. Because there you go. It's a little bit of a tighter window because if you run too far, you can jump over the Puyo and not shoot him. Or if you don't run enough, then you also won't do it properly. So anyway, it takes some learning to do it. Shoot him, jump, and that works. And that's fine that I got boosted down. I just jumped back up. It still will save you time doing it this way. Really quickly, if you want to go really ballsy, this is actually how I do the room now. I actually jump. I don't stand still. I jump and freeze down like this and try to land on this guy. So that's the ballsier strat. All right. Really, okay, let's go into, this is if you're doing ice, but let's go through it the other way. So this is the way you do it if you have apple. Oh, actually, you won't have, you'll probably still have all this stuff off. I think. Yeah, because you wouldn't have ice at this point. Okay, so you're going to grapple this. This is actually kind of hard to get in, like, to time to get through this crack. Like, I've seen a lot of people just, like, continually missing and doing this. It's hard, actually, to get in here. I don't have a really good way of doing it. I just kind of start spin jumping, and I just sort of spam jump as I move left to right. You have to wait a little bit after you shoot this thing. So I shoot it, and I just start spin jumping and try to get through. You got to get over these. This is called the pants room because this room kind of looks like a pair of pants. You have to get up here.
That's hilarious. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, this is called the pants room, I think. It's kind of a silly name, but so you want to get up here. You try to get up here without taking damage because you have to. If you fall back down, it takes a long time. There is a more advanced strat to try to deboost off of one of these chrono trigger enemies. I don't do the deboost. I actually don't even remember how to do it very well. Something like, it's just hard to time the deboost. But you want to try to, if you want to go for it, you can. Like that. If you do it really well, you can deboost all the way down to here. These are quick drop blocks, so do your best to quick drop through them. And then shoot the door, and we're into the same room that we were in. We got to from the ice clip. Drop a power bomb as quickly as possible. Well, you got some time to kill. There's not a lot to say about this room. You can skip the last two tiles, but it's I'll show you how to do it, but it's not a big time saver. This is just the waste time room. So I start jumping after a while, start jumping over Shack Tool. I use his the sort of needle to know when the needle is pointing down, that's when I jump over him. So jump over him when the needle is pointing down. Now, when I jump over him, if you see on the far right that the sand is ending, then I know the next time is the time that we're going to be doing when we're going to be trying to skip the last two bricks. So what we do here is you ball up, get over this guy. You're going to shoot to awaken this snail guy. And immediately after you shoot him, turn left. And the turning left is very important because it actually gets let's do that again. It actually gets the snail to move to the left. Oh, I might have done it too late. You have to do it pretty quickly. So ball up, turn around. And you notice he's coming to left here. And he breaks those two blocks, and you can sneak in ahead of Shack Tool. Doesn't save a lot of time, but it's cool to learn. Shoot him, turn around. I ball up, take damage, and then just roll right through. Okay. Little thing, if you I like to unmorph and soft morph to avoid bouncing. I don't even know if it actually saves time unless it's done very optimally. Because the thing is, the trade-off is that unmorphing stops your downward velocity. So you have to unmorph right at the top of your drop. And then bomb your way up. This is a little thing, but I like to hold angle here. I lay the bomb, unmorph, shoot, and then morph again so that I've actually hit this open before the bomb goes off, and I run and grab it. It's a little thing, but I like it. So hold angle, bomb, shoot, down. And then you got the coolest item in the game. I love Spring Ball. It's such a great item, and it's so unfortunate that so few routes use it because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and a couple things about spring ball. There's always this joke about like spring ball RTA, but then that defeats the purpose because once you get to it, you don't use it anymore because the run's over. But
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but secondly, spring ball is definitely an awesome item, but a lot of its really cool usage actually shows up pretty significantly in randomizers
Yeah,
because you can do the where you unequip it and you like wall jump and turn into a ball, and then you can get an extra jump up in the air from your
yeah.
spring ball and stuff like that. So even though it doesn't get utilized to its full potential in the regular speed runs, it's definitely a super swaggy item.
Yeah, man, I love it. And I mean, there's like, I just all the different hundo strats that have spring ball. Like, I go for all of them, even if they're not necessarily faster. I just love them, so I go for all of them. Um, all right, let's get out of this room. So I just jump as I leave the room in order to land perfectly, like, oops, right around here, somewhere around there. I do a one tap, and then I just start spamming the missiles. As soon as I see Shaq Tool, I just do a little jump, and I try to do one small jump and then a second space jump. So I want to try to go through the door relatively high. You don't have to, but this is how I found the fastest way through this room. You can just do this as well, just run through, shoot and jump. But it's a little bit faster to do a one tap, spam a bit, jump, jump. There you go. Okay. The coolest way to get down is something like that. So I'm coming through, I'm holding down. I shoot immediately as I hit the wall, and I turn around. Now, if you do it at the wrong time, you're going to hit this guy. Do it at the right time. I can't really explain the timing other than don't do it too early, I guess. These two kind of suck. They can kind of, especially if you have ice equipped at this point, they can kind of get in your way, and it's hard to get down. So, if you get stuck, just get them out of your way and land here as best you can. So I just hold shot, jump across, and try to get as much run speed going into this next room as possible. You do not want to take damage in this room. If you take damage, everything becomes super slow. So all I do is I just do a little space jump at the beginning, and then another space jump somewhere around this post, just to try to avoid the Ever's projectiles. And then I try to fake out this Ever by kind of being a little low so that he shoots low and then jumping over him. Then you just have to get through this next room. So there's a number of ways to get through, but the way I think is kind of the coolest is to try to do a little mock ball here. I actually switched to missile. It's not necessary, but I like to do this with a missile. Ooh, don't take damage, like I said. Don't fall in the sand. Okay, so the only reason I come in mock ball is that way I can bounce ball up and hit this. The other alternative is to just ball up here, bounce, and lay a bomb like that. But it's a little bit faster to come in mock ball and do that. In the time that I'm waiting, I switch to supers, and then just some really quick. This is actually a great room to practice ledge grab. Try to make your jumps as perfect as you can. The last one was not perfect. Oops. So just practice your timing on your ledge grab. So shoot open the, this is the reverse toilet. I don't know, what do we call this? Is this called the toilet snake? I've heard of stories of snakes coming up the drain. So
That sounds like the stuff of Nightmare.
yeah. Okay. So the toilet, we'll call it the toilet snake, I guess. So you're gonna hit this with a super. I come through this room with spin jump. So I actually spin jump up into this. Here comes the snake. It's gonna bite you in the bum. Okay, so I come in and spin jump just so that way I can land here. and I hit this guy with a missile just as I land. 2 shots also works, but I hit him with just a missile. And I try to jump as late as possible from this to try to get past that roof here and get up to, somewhere. Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Shoot. Somewhere around here. I like to wall jump off of the top of this, like right where the grass is, because it usually gets you right up onto the higher grass. And I shoot this pancake as I'm coming up. So missile, wall jump up as best you can, hit this one with a missile. Now you can shoot this one like 2 ways. You can kind of jump. I've seen people kind of jump up, shoot down, and shoot like this. I don't love that. I just do missiles. Just hit it with a missile on the way down. You have so many missiles at this point. You're never going to run out of missiles, so use them. Okay, coming down here, it's you have to wall jump. Because if you don't wall jump, you're going to not be able to space jump into this room. So either you can jump down like that and wall, or I just do a little wall jump here, and then I do a space jump to get to that spot. Again with a missile. And then I like to jump into this room. Just a little jump. Oops, not that. Not that. Don't bonk the ceiling. There is like 100 ways to do this room. I'll show you this is the way I used to do this room. And it's really, really easy. So if you hold left and jump, it's going to put you right up against this wall. Somewhere around level with this grass. You just go do a wall jump to the right. A little higher than the grass, actually. So maybe 2 wall jumps, and then somewhere around there. You want to try to land wall jump off the bottom of this. And if you do it properly, you're going to land on this grass. See, this is the reason I hate this room, because if you don't set it up properly, you're going to keep taking damage. So I land right here, and I run forward to the right, and you'll run right under the pancake. And then I just wall jump my way up from there. So this is the way I used to do it. It's really easy, really consistent. Just run under him. You're never going to take damage. So that's a really nice way to do this room. You have to make sure you do the first. This wall jump is kind of a good one. The second wall jump, I guess, is the hardest one to time. So 1, 2, off this one, run under, work your way up. I now just do this. So I jump into this wall, I hold up, and I hit him with a missile. That way I grab a drop. And then I just land here, and I actually just jump over. Rather than running under, I jump over this pancake. This is the way I now do it. But there's a bunch of ways to do this room. You want to spin jump, though. I've seen some people do something crazy where you go up this way or something, and then you deboost off of this guy, or I don't know. It's something crazy, but I've never gone for it. Most of the time, I'm still on missiles, so I just do missiles through all these rooms. It's cool to have missiles on at this point because a missile will go over these guys. A wave beam will not. So do a little missile and jump over them, or just take damage, whichever you prefer. If you take damage, I like to jump right in this kind of hole in the seaweed. There's 1,000 ways to do this room. And we've talked about this room a little bit already. So the basic way, just lay a power bomb in the middle on the way down. You want to jump into the room. I won't explain it right now, but it's important to jump into the room rather than running in. So jump in, lay a power bomb in the middle, grab your plasma, and kill these guys. So however you want to kill them, just kill them for now. Maybe at some point we'll do a whole plasma. Maybe we'll do the plasma room and the attic one stream or something like that. 2 rooms where you have to kill every enemy, and there's like 1,000 ways to get through it. That'd be kind of a cool a cool stream.
Yeah, those are really variable. Like I've seen so many different ways for people to do those rooms.
Yeah, they're both really cool because like obviously you have to kill everything, so that does make it a little bit harder.
I love the one. I don't know how to do it, but there's one where people like take a bunch of deboosts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always find those really fascinating.
They're pretty hard to get consistent, and the thing is, like, if you mess it up, then you've got one of the space pirates jumps to the other side, and you have to go and chase them. It's a mess. So whatever you find consistent, let's just leave that room at that for right now, and we can talk about it in detail at some point. I think actually in our first stream we might have talked about that room at some point. Someone asked about it, so we covered it a bit. So anyway, this room is really easy. I just run through the door and then I release in. And once I hit this wall, I just hold left again. So hold nothing, hold left. That's it. Really, really easy. So there's a really cool deboost you can do in this next room. You don't have to. The easiest way is just come down here, run to the left, land here. But if you want to do a deboost, what I do is I jump off this platform and I morph immediately. So I have a couple of visual cues. This is one. The bottom of this wall here is one. That is where I start pushing right. So if you push right at that exact location, you're going to go right. You're going to kind of thread the needle right into this area here. So jump off, I morph, I hold right, and that gets you right down. So that's kind of, even if you're not doing the deboost going down, you can just spin jump, press right, and you're down. So that's actually a good way to get down either way. But if you want to do this deboost, you ball up, you unmorph just as you pass this grass right here. Just around there, you unmorph and start moving to the right. And you will, if timed right, you'll deboost off of the Skullterra, the fish. So let's see that in execution. Right, unmorph, deboost. And if you do it just right, you won't land here. You'll get boosted past, and you can actually stop your deboost right here and land perfectly. It's really cool though. The end of the story is though you end up right. Whatever way you get down, you end up right here. All right, spring ball. I love spring ball. Let's talk about a spring ball strat here. So this is straight out of Sweetnum's dictionary. So he holds run from this position, against this wall here. Holds run until right here. At this point, you shoot and you release run. So you're literally changing from the run button to the shoot button right here. And then you jump at this plant. So running, shoot right here, release run, jump here. And you can do a full jump, and that should set you up into the next room pretty well. So let's try that. Shoot, jump. That looks pretty good. Okay. So this strat, I'll show you what it looks like. Looks kind of like that. You actually can bounce all the way up to here. The timing it's pretty hard to get the timing. That'll work. Well, would have worked. I had to unmorph a little earlier. And you can, if you have to unmorph, right around here and get up onto the door. So all I'm doing here is I'm doing a little jump, a little space jump. As soon as I space jump, I shoot the door. And then I'm actually not doing a mock ball. I'm doing a bounce ball. So I'm morphing immediately, holding jump through the door. And that'll put you up here. If you bounce, it's kind of hard to time because this sand kind of pushes you downward. So the timing, it just takes a lot of practice to get used to the feeling of it. If you bounce on this, it'll work. If you bounce if you're really like on the way down, you haven't bounced yet, but you're going through the door pretty low, it will still work. If you're going through the door at kind of a mid-height, like here, it may not work. But I'm just holding the jump button through that room and right. And I just release right, at the correct spot, and that's what it looks like. Let's try that one more time. That should work. So I'm just going to hold. I just release right, and I go straight up. And then you just unmorph and shoot the door. If you don't want to do that, jump and jump. Both are fine. I really love this room. I'm talking about Sweetnum a lot because he's got a great Hundo tutorial. He and Anaconda did a whole tutorial on it. Check that out. It's really, if you're interested in Hundo, those two guys really understand Hundo. So that's like 5 hours long. You should check it out if you haven't already. This room's different depending on which route you're taking. So we'll do early Croc first, which is sort of the more, I guess, beginner route. So you come into this room, shoot down when you hit this wall, and you'll kill this cack. Ball up, and you're gonna bounce. Kipp, you gonna say something?
I'm sorry. I was actually just going to point out that I think this room is really awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite Hundo strats, even though I'm, not super great at it. But watching somebody get these strats in this room is really gratifying.
Yeah, Sweetnum said it's his favorite room in Hundo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you're not alone. This is a really, really cool room. So shoot down and ball up, and then do a little spring ball to get up here. So from here, you want to unmorph just before you hit the spikes and try to hold right. So if you hold right, it'll sort of put you in a position where you're kind of you actually kind of get boosted. You get knocked back, but you don't get knocked back. You notice how I'm like getting knocked back and I'm getting pushed up. If you're holding right, you don't get knocked into the air. You just sort of stay on the ground. So not holding right looks like this, and it puts you back up here, which you don't want. Holding right does this. So you want to be holding right. So you unmorph and hold right. Then you get as much run speed as possible. You're going to shoot really late and jump really late. And if you do it correctly, you'll kill this. Nope. You'll kill this cack attack, and you'll spin jump through. Then you have to time your spin. Base jumps are kind of hard to time here. Again, this is sort of a feeling thing. I do a space jump right around here, and then another space jump right away. 2 really fast space jumps, 1, 2, like that. And after the second one, I'm going to shoot this cack attack. Now, if you do it, you have to kind of get pretty close to the water level to do the second space jump. And if you do it just right, you're going to jump over this platform. You can shoot this door and either land here, or if you really want to be swag, you could actually mock ball through this door. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Like I said, I don't do this category anymore, so I don't know if I exactly remember the timing on it, but something like this. Yeah, it's essentially that, but if you time the jump perfectly, you can angle this door open from somewhere around here, and then you can mock ball through as well. It's a very cool strat. I mean, even just getting over the little over that little peak and landing in the at the door is a pretty big victory. One more time. Well, close. Yeah, so hitting the door is pretty hard, actually. But that's essentially a win right there to get to that point. I love that strat. A little thing, we've talked about it before, but aiming down while you're jumping can help you clear this platform. If you don't think you're going to make it, it essentially pulls your legs up so that you don't clip this as you're coming down. So if you think you might clip the edge of this, hold down to get over it. That actually goes for any of these on the way up. You might clip this as you're coming up. So you can, after you shoot this cack attack, you can do something like that to try to get over the peak. But, good luck. Anyways, something like that. So let's look at it if you're doing it with the late route. It's a little different. This is I use Behemoth strats for a lot of hundo. So we'll have these on. All right. So I just use a missile. Ball up and do the same thing, kind of. We're coming into here with missiles. So here, we're going to try to do a deboost. You're going to unmorph a little bit early and deboost over this ledge. Land on these spikes. Turn around and immediately shoot this cack with a missile. And then you're going to kind of do more or less the same thing as you did before. So a big deboost. Ooh, missiles. The timing's pretty hard, though. Ooh, something like that. And it's actually even harder to get over the peak on this one because it's harder to get really good run speed through this next part. Oops. Unmorph. Something like that. So anyways, let's not waste any more time. That's essentially the idea. I think basically what the premise is. This is a good example of if you're coming through this room, there can be a lot of lag with these mock droids on the room, especially when you have this weapon equipped. It's less with the for some reason the ROM hack, the practice ROM is not as laggy. So it doesn't seem very laggy, but it can be. So I just missile both of these if I can.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of rooms kind of like that. I know they've discussed that on the Super Metroid Discord.
Worst room in the game is probably the best example.
Yeah, and I think even Three Musketeers experiences some of that with all of the lava or acid or whatever coming up and down.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like when I'm doing low percent ice, like I can't practice low percent ice, worst room in the game on the practice ROM because my timing is just not right when I get into gaming. Into doing actual runs. So I only practice it on, like if I'm practicing low percent ice and I'm doing worst room in the game, I'll have a save state on my cart that's like as close to that as possible. And then I'll just use Game Saver and practice it a lot. So it's interesting that those things are a little, but what can you do? All right, we're almost at the end. If you hadn't got this item before, get it now. And then quick drop. These rooms are kind of the same as they were before. Morph, unmorph. Okay, so this room we did this one already. This one is the cooler version. Since you have plasma now, you only have to shoot twice. And you want to do a 2-tap here because you want more run speed. You needed to do a 3-tap last time because, or rather, you needed to shoot late in order to shoot after you've passed this ouch. But you can do a 2-tap here. Let's see if I can get enough run speed, though. 1, 2. All right, that looks okay. We'll see. The amount of run speed is really important for the strat. So kind of the same way you entered this room before in the swag strat. You want to do a little space jump and do a mock ball. Somewhere around here is where you do the... You do a bounce ball or a spring ball. And then immediately after you do the spring ball, you roll from left to the up input. And if you do it right, we'll see. I may not have it set up well enough based off of how much speed I have entering the room. No, we got it. Okay, there it is. It does that, which is so damn awesome. You know, it's worth trying to do it anyways. Even if you're not certain you're going to make it, it's worth trying to do it. If you don't want to, just land here, space jump, land here, and either do a 2-tap or a 3-tap, stutter 2-tap or stutter 3-tap, and then shine spark up. I like to jump in here and then do a diagonal shine spark up. So like this. The only reason is it's a little fast. If you do it straight up, you end up in this area up here. Whereas if you do a diagonal one, you land, stop your shine spark sort of in this area. So it's a little bit faster. So this is the This is the normal way up to grab that item. So it's kind of hard to time to get this perfectly. And it does have the possibility that if you do it too late, you end up in the soft lock hole of hell. So it is a little risky as well, but so damn swag. One thing that you can do, if you don't think you're gonna, if you make the jump but you didn't get enough height, you can sometimes down grab this platform. Sometimes, if your height is just right, you can kind of do a little down grab, but good luck. I don't know what else to say about that one. I mean, have you Strat, Kipp?
No, I pretty much just use the noob. Well, you know, I say that lovingly. I just use like the most basic strat possible. I just get up there and do a 3-tap, and then like I think when I did my testing, yeah, basically exactly what you just did. I always made sure to jump and do the angle because you just get a little bit closer.
Yeah, I mean it saves like 2.5 seconds. That's all. It's not like a huge time save. So cool though. Like, and if you do a you know, on a good run, landing this is like it's just so satisfying to see it. Because then, you know, if it's on your PB, then, you know, if you're watching your video back, you get to see that every time.
It looks super, super sweet. Yeah, I like that strat a lot.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So good luck, guys, if you can try to get that one. The timing is really important. I found that when you jump and when you unmorph, you want to put them as close together as possible. That just might be psychological, but that's one thing I've noticed. All right, so you mess it up. You do a 3-tap. You get up there somehow. Grab this item. Try to jump over as you grab the item. And then run and get this one as well. Do not fall and forget to jump over that thing. I just do a full jump to that position and then try to quick drop through. There's a lot of quick drops in this area. It's very good to practice. It doesn't save a lot of time, but it's, you know, it's every little bit counts. So practicing your quick drops is a really good thing. So the one thing I noticed is if I Shine Spark method, especially if I try for the blue ball and I mess it up and I do a Shine Spark method, I usually find when I come back down after grabbing all the that this guy is like right here. So it's not a big deal, but sometimes you're coming down and you just bonk into him and he stops your momentum. So let's just to show you, you want to avoid this happening. I come down, I go this way, and this happens. So all I do is, as I'm jumping off this ledge, if I'm doing the Shine Spark method, I just jump and I just shoot down. It's not a big deal, but it's a little, you know, good thing to be aware of. Even if he's not there, it's just good practice to get used to doing that, just in case he is there. This is the same as before. You're going to the second pit this time. Now, you can do this. You can just space jump across. That's perfectly fine. If you do a 1-tap, though, you get enough. You get enough space that you can actually blue suit or speed over this sand pit. It's like fractionally faster. But hey, it's faster. I usually jump right here, use this as my visual cue. I do a full jump and then do a turnaround. So 1-tap, big jump, turnaround, and you're on your way down. So this room, unmorph and morph as quickly as possible. I like to face left here and hold a charge entering this room. You don't have to hold a charge, but you want to face left. The reason is if you can actually shoot this item. The reserve tank is in an egg. And if you release, let me say that again. If you're coming down here and you have a charge held, if you release inputs when you enter this room, you will shoot this open. So I have already held a charge. I release inputs. And as I fall, I open that egg. And then as I'm falling, I'm also going to shoot horizontally and get rid of the bricks that were right here. I do a little angle shot from here on this platform, it gets rid of this block. And then I try to ball up and land right here, and then continue to hold jump so that you can spring ball. You don't want to fall down here. It's not a big time state loss, but don't fall down. There's a very, very cool bombing strat. I can't do it consistently, where you lay a bomb here, you grab this item, and then you come back and it's timed perfectly that the bomb actually carries you across this gap. I can't actually time it. I just try to time a little spring ball right around here to get me over that gap. But it is possible to lay a bomb, and then that bomb essentially just detonates right at the right time to put you over. I think you have to kind of, you don't want to do it too high, maybe. I don't know exactly what it is. If anyone watching knows, then let me know. But, you know, not a big deal. It's cool if you can get it, though. All right. Again, this is small, but this is kind of a cool thing to notice. If you hold left coming into this item, it's going to put you on this pedestal. And it's not a big deal, but you have to then fall down, spring ball up. All I do is I drop, and just after I've started to drop, I just tap left. And that way I land here as opposed to landing here. So fall off, tap left. And then you can hold jump out of the item fanfare, and you'll bounce up perfectly. All right. You're going to unmorph and turn around if you can to avoid to quick drop through this. And if possible, soft morph. If possible, soft morph like that. Come down here and unmorph again. The visual cue I use for this quick drop, just like in the last one, there's you have to move over far enough to the right in order to start falling. See, I'm not going to fall here, but here I will. So I use this as the reference. There's this rock. So I just jump to that point and turn around. And I try to be as far to the left as possible coming into this room in order to, again, get a deboost off of these guys. If you can get one deboost, that's great. 2 deboosts is better. This is a very hard room to do well, though. The ultimate is to deboost to this location. You want to deboost off of the left, off of the spike coming, or the projectile coming from this guy. So I'm holding left. I do a quick turnaround and deboost and try to land here. And then if you time it well, you can kind of space jump into the projectile that's been heading, that's on its way over to the left here. Pretty hard to get, though. The timing is not easy. There it is. And it puts you perfectly here, which is way, way faster. It only maybe saves 1 to 2 seconds, but 1 deboost is great. You know, the only problem is you don't want to do a full deboost. Landing here is kind of tricky because then you have to awkwardly get over this platform and then get over here somehow. It's really easy to lose time in this room. I don't really know, aside from that, like, try to do a deboost and then just get over here as fast as you can. But it will be slow unless you get the double deboost. And then we're pretty much done. All I do for this room is I just stop in my tracks. Kill these guys. Or actually, now I just run through and I morph into this guy, K-going through him. And then I just jump over this other crab to run to the next room. But if you want to just shoot twice, farm these guys, shoot twice. It's a good place to farm, actually, if you want to farm. And this room. Fine, we're almost at the end here. I jump right around here on this plant. I do a full jump. It just sort of it bangs me into this. And then I do another jump right around here. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2.
You know, from a general perspective, what you're showing right here is something that I didn't kind of think of when I first started running the game. When you're utilizing space jump, a lot of times jumping into the ceiling, there's a bunch of different places where jumping into the ceiling can kind of give you the right angle to kind of get through the room easily.
Yeah.
So this is a good, showcase of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it puts you in the downward motion, so it's kind of like I don't think it actually speeds up when you can do a space jump, but it kind of feels like it speeds up your space jump in a sense.
Yeah, it just feels to me like it puts you, for example, in this room, it puts your next space jump at the right like angle or whatever, like in the room. Like you don't have to worry about being too high or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's like it's essentially like a very consistent. It's why I like full jumps, because full jumps are consistent almost every time. So here you can do a full jump into this ceiling, and it'll put you right there pretty much every time. So yeah, it's very cool. On this this jump over this ledge here, that's where I switched to supers, but you could have been on supers earlier, I guess. Destroy this however you want. I usually shoot up, I ball under, and then I start running from here. This is called threading the needle, I think. It's I thought it was really hard when I first started doing it, but once I started rolling under this gate, I found it actually became really free. So let me set it up properly. All right, so from right here, I just start running. I jump pretty late. As late as you can, right around here. As you're jumping, I just do a full jump. As I'm jumping, I hold down, and then I turn around right around here. Something about turnarounds is they kind of just snap you in, like you don't necessarily land on a ledge. It snaps you in, and it almost pulls you down into the hole. Kind of a hard one to explain, but I just do a little turnaround right there and try to get down. If you don't, does not lose that much time, though. Like that. And I guess we'll just go to the last item, right? We'll just go to, or maybe we'll go to the elevator through. So assuming that you didn't get power bombs early, which is an option, I think Zos does that route. You have to go back to Kraid and get the power bombs items. So probably the easiest way is to just duck and do like a run and do a little mock ball. And then if you want, you can try to spring ball across. Actually, the easiest really, duck, mock ball, unmorph, and jump up. Really just fine. But if you want to be really swag, and we love swag stuff here, the spring ball strat, which is really cool, is you'll jump and you'll do like an angle shot. If you have enough momentum, you will destroy this brick. I jump really early into the room, almost immediately, and I shoot pretty close to the ceiling. Ooh, not like that. Not like that. Yeah, sort of like that. So one thing that you can, it's kind of hard to not shoot straight in this room, because the thing is that in order to do an angle shot, you have to release jump in order to break out of the spin so that you're in the angled position. So if you're holding jump and you shoot, even if you're holding the angled button, I'm going to hold jump, continue to hold jump, and I'm going to press shoot. And you're going to notice that it shoots straight. It looks like I'm aiming down, and I am aiming down, but when you press the fire button, you're still in spin jump. So when you release spin is when you go to the angle position. So the way I do this is I hold angle it through this room, and I actually use my thumb for both jump and shoot. So I literally pick up my thumb off of jump, move to shoot, and then bring my thumb back to jump in order to do the mock ball. So I kind of come into the room 1, 2, 3, sort of like that. And then I just try to do a mock ball at the end. It's very hard, though, this room, to get it really. You'll actually notice I don't do a full jump most of the time. If I do a full jump, I usually end up going a little too high. So just takes practice to get the timing on it. You have to release angle, though. Make sure you release angle in order to do the mock ball. You're not going to mock ball if you continue to hold angle. Actually, maybe I could do it with a... Yeah, actually, if you want to use, instead of using the L button, you can use... If you run into the room, yeah, you can just hold down and right, and you can use that instead. And it just means that you are already kind of in position to do... You don't have to worry about the angle button. Anyways, it's a really cool strat if you can do it. If you don't, land here, hop up, shoot this door. And most people will do a door check into this room. So you jump into the door and you push left just before you hit the door. We've talked about door checks before, actually. If you have ice on, you got to shoot down twice. 1, 2. And I like to soft morph as I hit the ground. 1. Ooh, 1, 2. Maybe I had a little too much speed. There's a number of ways to get through this next part. Some people will just lay a bomb, turn around and do a little mock ball, something like that. It's a little bit faster if you can get a mock ball, I guess. But what I've seen a lot of people do now, since you now have plasma, your shots will go, or wave, I guess, will work as well. You lay a bomb, you do a full jump, and just as you start to come down, you're going to shoot. Shoot, and then soft morph. Shoot, soft morph, and roll to the right. And if you time it just right, this door will be opened by your shot. Actually, I think it's a little bit later than I'm doing it. Ooh, you have to soft morph, though. There it is, yeah. So it's just take a little time to get used to where you want to do that shot. How late you do the shot is kind of important. If you do it too early, that worked. Yeah, so just make sure that you're on your way down. And it's a good spending of the time while you're waiting for the bomb. Very cool. And it allows you to then get run speed as you go into this room. I'm sure there are a number of ways to do this. I just spam missiles or try to time 4 missiles on the way through. But you can just spam missiles. Probably you'll hit at least 3 of them. And you're going to almost certainly not get hit by the 4th one on your way back. 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 4th one, I do a big jump and I ball up, lay a power bomb, and get this item. Hold jump out of the item fanfare so that you bounce back up. And then if you want, there's actually a really cool, we can try it. It's insanely hard. The easiest way to get through this room is to just run, aim down, shoot this door, and drop. But there is a very, very hard strat. Coming into the room, if you open this door before you come through, so you kind of jump into the room, aim down and shoot the door, kill all these guys, get your item, and as you come back through, if you kind of land perfectly right here, you can do a really very hard strat. I love it. I've got it, I think, once in a run, and I get it sometimes in practice. It requires a stutter 4-tap and a very well-timed stutter 4-tap and a very, very well-timed jump in order to get the right run speed to jump and land right and just past this ledge. And you can do a speedball into the next room. Let's see if I can get it just to show it to you. See, that's too far. So that wouldn't have worked. That might work. We'll see. Nope. So you notice, it's really, really hard. See, too early. Nope. Let's just try for just a few seconds and see if I can get it. That might work, actually. Probably not. Nope. So the thing is, if you get too much run speed, it's not going to work. So you have to time your taps really, really well. Nope. And the height of the jump is also really important. We had, Sephi on tonight, and Sephi's all about Strat. So in Sephi's honor, we should at least try to execute this once. Almost. A little too far. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, that should do it. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, it's very hard.
I don't even think I've ever seen that before.
But it's so cool if you can do it, and it's a speedball that gets you right through this. Stutter 4-tap. Very hard timing. Like you have to be really, really tight on those taps, and your jump has to be perfect for the most part. But it's super cool, and it obviously it's the fastest way through. Actually, you don't even have to mock ball. If you bounce and you hold jump, like you might notice this time, I'm like actually bouncing my way through.
That's
which
funny.
I guess theoretically you might be able to bounce like up. I don't know if anyone's ever tried that, but it would be kind of a cool way to, something like that and get up here really fast. But yeah, that's like it's so damn swag. We have to look at it for a second. There it is.
Definitely. Well, Moss, thank you for walking us through the rest of Maridia. Kind of like what we talked about. I'm going to cut the cam over to me real quick. Kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the stream with Sephi is that, Maridia is one of those sections that is, a lot trickier than you might would imagine, and there's just all kinds of ways that you have to execute some pretty tough maneuvers. So,
yeah, I would say that a lot of people kind of feel that they lose a lot in wreck ship. I kind of feel that you start, you've got to run in wreck ship, and then you lose run in Maridia.
Right.
Maridia is the run where you lose run. You make up time in wreck ship, and then you lose time in Maridia.
Yep, makes sense. Well, guys, we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. We had a very nice Strat chat tonight. Thanks again to Sephi for coming on and talking to us, and Moss for running us through the rest of Maridia. We will pick up the next Strat chat, trying to finish out Hundo with some lower Norfair action and some blue Brinstar cleanup. I think we might can get through all that in one sitting, so we'll take a look and see. But thank you so much for joining us, Moss. Is there anything else you'd like to close out with?
No, I mean it's great. I love Hundo. It's so much fun. There's so many strats in Hundo that we can talk about. Not only is it so long, but you have spring ball, you have space jump, you have all the items, you get so many different things you get to use, right?
Yeah,
it's exciting doing Hundo, right?
It's definitely more of a wider variety of tech, not only because of the items, but also because of the rooms that you sometimes would not normally, transition through or whatever. So definitely very interesting. Okay, so we're gonna call it there, guys. I'm gonna put it on the closing screen. I'm going to take a quick, maybe 5-minute break, and then I'm going to fire up my stream and start trying to knock out another attempt at a 52 in low ice. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we'll see. Moss, are you going to be streaming tonight?
Oh, no. I've been working all day and had to drive 3 hours to get here. I'm hitting the rack.
Cool, man. Well, that sounds good. I hope you get some rest, and I'll catch you later. Guys, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.